Welcome to the Inflow podcast. I am your host, Michelle Bosch. I see a gaping hole across society that focuses on the outer work and forgets about the inner work, when what we really need is to bridge the gap between prosperity and spirituality to live a life in flow, with inflows of light, inflows of cash, inflows of creativity, inflows of grace in our lives. Each week, join me for powerful messages and interviews that will leave you inspired and ready to step into flow in your higher work. So now, let's go. Welcome to the Inflow podcast. I am your host, Michelle Bosch. Just checking here very quickly if everyone can hear me, and I think the sound should be good. We're winding down 2020. 2020 was definitely a year where there were no boring moments whatsoever, at least not in my world. It wasn't a year of disappointments. There were some disappointments, but it wasn't a year of catastrophe in our world, in the land flipping space. It has actually been a breakthrough year for all of us that are flipping land. It's been a year where, we have had an increase because of the pandemic and because of COVID, an increase of sellers really motivated to sell. And we've had an increase of buyers that, all of a sudden want to have a 2-acre, 5-acre, 10-acre parcel or 20-acre parcel in the path of growth, or, within a couple hours from where they live as recreational land. And we have seen our sales exploding. We have been doing now this since 2002. So we have gone through a major economic, recession before, and sales didn't stop back in 2008, but they didn't explode like they have exploded in 2020. Regardless, though, this was a challenging year for us, in not having anticipated, that growth on the land flipping space, not having anticipated, in our other line of business, which is our education business, the fact that we were going to have to transfer and convert everything into an online and virtual world. Which I think we have been able to accomplish, in that first Q1 and Q2 of 2020 phenomenally. If there's one thing that I know is that one of the unique abilities of our team is its adaptability and flexibility and really normalizing new levels, very, very quickly. And so along with that, with normalizing new levels, that's what I would like to talk a little bit about today as we're winding down the year, 2020. But before we go into new levels, I wanted to, for us together as a community, of Inflow listeners, as a community of land profit generator warriors that are out there, flipping land, serving buyers, serving sellers every single day, day in and day out. I just wanted to, acknowledge you all for the innovation, for the adaptability, for the resilience, for the grit, for just everything that you have done. We seldom do that. We seldom reflect on the things that we do accomplish. We're always looking at the gap between where we are now and where we want to go, but we seldom actually take the time to reflect back on the things that we have accomplished and that we have done. And that is such an important, I think, practice to get into the routine of doing, especially as you plan, a new year, as you plan a month, as you plan a quarter, as you plan a week, that repeated planning and that planned repetition of including perhaps this exercise, would be beneficial. I know that I don't do it often. I don't do it often enough. I wish I did it on a weekly basis. I do it sometimes monthly, but I definitely do it quarterly. That for sure I do. and or after we've done a major, either promotion or event, or just a new uh, a new project that we started, and that we may have brought to a certain milestone or to completion. And what I like doing is I like doing something that we call a kind of like a positive outlook exercise. And we actually bring this into our weekly team meetings too. Before we start any of our meetings within our teams, we always look at, okay, what is positive in my life right now, and what is positive in my professional, in my career, that I was able, to accomplish last week, and that I can bring, as a foundation of confidence into the new week. So we do it weekly, as a team. But me personally, doing the reflection, I wish I did it more often, but I do it quarterly, and I do certainly do it, on a yearly basis. And it's just amazing to notice and acknowledge basically all the things that you may have accomplished. So and what it does for you, like I said, it gives you like a foundation where you can look back at the recent past, and really use it as fuel, as fire, if you look at it from the perspective of what you got done. Because if you look at it from the perspective of what didn't get done, you're always going to come short, because that gap between where you are and where you want to be is always going to be there. If you are a person, a leader that is on a lifetime commitment for growth, that boundary of what is possible, you will continue to be pushing it forward and forward. And it's elusive. And that's amazing, actually, that it's elusive, because that's what makes you to continue to grow, and so on and so forth. But if we're always looking at, that gap between where we are and where we're going, we can fall into, depression. We can fall into negativity. We can fall into a, kind of like a fatalist outlook, if we don't also counterbalance that with, my goodness, look at all the things that I did accomplish. So my exercise for today is for you to invite you to do a positive outlook, basically, or a positive put a positive focus on all the things, and list maybe 5, 10 things that you accomplished this year that you're incredibly proud of. And what that does, inherently, is that as you find and go look for the positive that may have happened in your life in 2020, and the accomplishments and the things that you did do, what happens is that underlying that, I always feel that as we train our brain to do that, we're also training our soul to be grateful, for what we did do. Because everything that we appreciate tends to appreciate, so what you appreciate appreciates, and more of that comes. And so it's an amazing practice. I usually, like I said, I list all 10 things that I, or 5 or 10 things, or many more accomplishments if you have many more than that. But at least I would say 5 of the things that you're incredibly proud for, for having overcome, or that you did incredibly well, or where you had, some progress. Because we're looking for progress, not for perfection in the things that we do. It's perfection is such a lousy standard. It's not a standard, really. And it's good to look at that. And then I usually then right next to it, I usually write the reasons why, that is an achievement that I'm proud of. And it usually involves people. It involves, because we're not in this alone, and it gives me an opportunity to basically have some reflection time, close my eyes and have reflection time, and think about the faces of the people that were there for me in order to help me accomplish that. And then I go, and do that for every single one. And then I will say, okay, if there's somewhere, further progress is needed, I will write what's one action item where there's further progress that is needed. And I'll write the name of a person, because normally a who can help me continue basically in that progress momentum on each of those particular things that you acknowledge. And once you've acknowledged what you are going to, or you've done, you've gone through this exercise, what you're going to notice is that at least this is what it does for me. I have this incredibly renewed sense of confidence in my ability to continue to create my own economy, continue to create my own reality, and manifest really new realities. Because now I see, look at all the, crap or the shit sandwich that I went through in this year prior, or in this time period of 90 days. And I was still able to do all of this. And that renewed sense of confidence in my abilities, in my resourcefulness, in my courage, in my bravery, in my ability to execute, kind of like sets a new standard, that is higher than the 90 days prior, or higher than the year prior. Because normally I will have, gained new capabilities, new skill sets. I would have cleaned up, messes. I would have, done some delegations, for things that, are not within my genius or my unique ability, and so on and so forth. So it's so rewarding basically to see yourself in retrospect, see yourself breaking through ceilings, and shattering ceilings that you may have had, or shattering, whether it be physical, financial, ceilings, or just mental and emotional ceilings that you have gone through as a result of the things that you accomplish. Every single setback, every single thing that that you're able to overcome, gives you that ability to continue to sculpt you, to be on this ongoing process of becoming, and really looking to the past. Basically, this is an exercise of looking to the past, to not to perpetuate the past, not to dwell on the negative things of the past, but to look at the things that were positive, in your past, in your recent past, if we look at just the year 2020. But you can do this, as far as you want. Like, I've done this same exercise for 10 years back, and look at the person that I was there, and gosh darn, so much gratitude for that decisions that person made 10 years ago. And every single year that have brought me to the place where I am now. So you can do this exercise of putting a positive focus on your past, on the past accomplishments and achievements, in a week time frame, in a day time frame, in a monthly time frame, quarterly, yearly, or even 10 years, or even longer than that. And what I can guarantee is going to be an incredible renewed sense of gratitude for the person that you were 10 years ago, and the decisions that you made 10 years ago, and the actions that you took every single day during that period of 10 years or 1 year, that have brought you to the place where you are right now. And basically, and what you will notice as you go through this, and you write down, your 5 or 10 things, is that you most likely, like everyone else, has gone through a period of fear, of uncertainty, of discomfort, and that you were able to push through those things. And those things, when you arrive now in the present moment, when you arrive now in this present moment, are no longer things that you're scared of, or that are uncomfortable for you, or that create discomfort, or that create anxiety. And you will have discovered that you're braver than you are more capable than or that you were. And now that new level, basically, it's like an upward spiral, that new level of confidence that you have now established is normal. That is a new normal. The present day where you are right now is now a new normal than the normal that was there a year ago. a year ago was a completely different normal. And we know that, especially after the year that we've had, even if nothing else, would have happened in your world and you just had to live through the pandemic, it would have definitely been a new normal. But this is a way to basically acknowledge that you've normalized certain things now, and that you're not, for example, anymore a $5,000 type of land flipper, that now you may have increased your margins on your land flipping, and now you're a $10,000 type of person and land flipper, and that is now a normal for you, and that it's an ongoing, upward spiral of creating new normals or normalizing new levels, what this exercise is going to allow you to do. And so your present normal right now could be, again, having a little bit of discomfort, of uncertainty, of anxiety, of fear, as we go into 2021. But I want you to go ahead and use, the positive things, the positive achievements in that list, to use that to recommit to being resilient, to being, full of grit, to being an action-oriented person, to being brave, to being bold, because you know that you've done that in the past now, and look at the achievements that you've been able to get to, And so it's an ongoing process of recommitting to that every single time until we arrive maybe, at the end of 2021, and I might do another exercise like this with you all. And you will have noticed that you will have arrived at what now seemed a future normal is now a past normal, and so on and so forth. So it's a very, very powerful, exercise, and basically kind of like training your mind to basically be okay with discomfort, to welcome the unknown, to welcome the things that are not completely figured out, to welcome the things where you feel, you still need to work on. And, and you guys have won big. I know that if you have been, part of our Land Profit Generator community, that you have been winning big. And it's time to now decide that, those wins, we are grateful, we appreciate them, and that it's time to make and create even bigger wins into 2021. I don't necessarily believe in year's resolutions. I do a lot of, like I said, repeated planning. So I'm it doesn't just happen sometimes at the end of the year, but on a quarterly basis. But what I do know is that, every day is an opportunity to create, to engineer new levels of normal for ourselves. And that new future that we want to, bring in to our life and manifest is being created right now in the present. And that right now in the present, once you've gone through this exercise, that it's time to recommit to bigger wins, to bigger goals. That goals should scare you a little bit, that is normal, that if they don't scare you, that they're not big enough, that they're not going to stretch you into becoming the person that you need to become to create your own economy. And so legacy is built on that, on looking at what others have gone before us, appreciating their, achievements, their milestones, their sacrifices, the lessons that they have learned, the things that they have overcome, and really basically standing on the shoulders of all of those, that sacrifice and lessons and wins and triumphs and victories, and recommitting to doing that again and again and again and again. And that is legacy. That is part of legacy. And legacies take time. We will see that, you've probably accomplished amazing things in this 1 year, but it's incredible when you start extending your time horizon to not just 1 year, but 5 or even 10, a decade. It's going to be 2021. Technically, the decade is starting now in 2021, and we're going 10 years in. And legacies take time. And it's a constant, like I said earlier, normalizing new levels and then pushing, that line forward and pushing that boundary forward of a new normal that you want to bring into the present, as you go through the motions. And we understand that. We have been going through this process now for many, many years of, yes, in the moment, the uncertainty, the discomfort, feeling like it completely and absolutely sucks. But we have now learned to embrace the suck, to not resist the suck, to actually lean into the suck sometimes. And because it's needed, for that next level of growth. And but don't start there. Don't start with just trying to embrace the suck. As you move forward and as you do goal settings, do first a positive focus. Do first a recount of all the achievements that you've done this year, and use that as a breeding ground of positivity and renewed confidence and renewed commitment to go after goals that are scarier, goals that are bigger. And in that same train of thought, if you know that you have been trying this, that you've been dabbling with this, that you've been not really doing it and committing to land flipping, if that's what you're doing, or any other real estate strategy for that matter, that it's time to renew commitment. That's an ongoing process that happens every single time, that sometimes we fall off, things happen, and that there's always these moments like the ones that we're having right now, where we're reflecting on what we did accomplish. And yes, there is still a gap, but now with that renewed sense of confidence and commitment from knowing what we did accomplish, we can go after bigger goals. And so if you are interested in joining us in our Land Profit Masterclass that is starting January 18th, we are going to be basically bringing in new content, a little bit new material, more advanced material, and basically in our trainings. And to help you all at the beginning of the year, we're riding this momentum, this energy basically of the entire world, the entire planet really being in this energy of New Year's resolutions, that we want to help you create that momentum. We want to basically create the beginning, be the catalyst of the beginning of a big boom for you all in 2021 when it comes, to your finances. And then, like I said earlier, appreciate over the holidays what you did accomplish, appreciate the relationships that did grow, appreciate, the maybe mental hurdles that you went over, the emotional hurdles, the stamina, appreciate the grit, the resilience that you have, and come back, and enjoy your time with family, and come back renewed, relax, prepare to win big in 2021. And, because no matter what's going on out there, we know that the possibilities are limitless, that every time and every day that you wake up, that you have a choice whether you're going to become, and acquire the capabilities that your dreams require, or you're going to be, pessimistic, fearful, with the discomfort. And that it's a choice. It's a choice to welcome the unknown, to embrace it, to lean into it, to welcome the challenges, that might come, that are unexpected, the obstacles, the lessons, the sacrifices, and because that it will pay off. If you are now looking at what happened in the past, and where you're at right now, it's because you've gone through all those things. There's this renewed commitment for the future. So if you are interested, Land Profit Masterclass starts January 18th. we would love to have you. The masterclass is designed to help both beginning and already seasoned investors really engineer the next level of growth. And we would love to have you. And you can go to landprofitmaster.com, landprofitmaster.com, and register. Make sure that you join the Facebook group. You know that once you register, you go through the second step. There's a confirmation page that says, wait, you're not done yet. Join the group here. Make sure that you click on that. We are thinking about amazing things for the new year in terms of new things that we're going to be bringing into the Land Profit Generator community. We would love to have you there and see you and have, the opportunity and the privilege to create a new breakthrough, a new momentum, be the catalyst for growth, give you that initial push that we're all looking for at the beginning of the year to, start the year strong and full of conviction, of, resolution for the goals that we have set ourselves in finance, in our finances, in our health, in our fitness, in our relationships, in our, parenting, in our spiritual growth, in our character development, and so on and so forth. So thank you so much for an amazing, amazing year of just, you giving me the privilege and the gift of your presence and tuning in to episodes here at Inflow. So thank you so very much. And I have a wonderful holiday. See you on the next time in 2021. Bye-bye.
I hope this episode left you feeling inspired and ready to get inflows of cash, inflows of light, and inflows of faith in your life. I welcome your reviews on iTunes. Please leave me a review and help me create an amazing community of women in flow. Thank you, as always, for sharing your voice by going to michellebosch.com and joining the conversation about this show. And while you're there, grab a copy of my 10 Commandments to Living a Life in Flow. You can also follow me on Facebook at Michelle Bosch and on Instagram at Michelle Bosch Official. Thank you very much, and until the next one.